In 2022, a jury reached a verdict. Not in a case from last year, but from a night that happened 25 years earlier. There was no body, there was no confession, and yet, the jury was certain. Paul Flores was found guilty of murder. The victim was a 19-year-old college student named Kristin Smart. She left a party near her campus in the early hours of the morning, and she never came home. Kristin Smart didn't disappear in a dangerous city. She didn't vanish in a foreign country. She disappeared from a college campus, a place meant to be safe. Cut to silent courtroom footage, Paul Flores seated, emotionless. For decades, her family lived with unanswered questions, while one man lived freely, and a truth stayed buried. How does a young woman vanish after a short walk home? And why did it take 25 years to prove what so many already suspected? This is not just a story about a crime. It's a story about silence, about failure, and about what happens when persistence refuses to let the truth disappear. Most missing college students are found within 24 hours. Kristin Smart never was. Stay with this story, not because it's shocking, but because remembering her matters. And sometimes, the only thing standing between silence and justice is the decision to keep watching. Who was Kristin Smart? Before she became a headline, before her name was printed on flyers and spoken in courtrooms, Kristin Denise Smart was just a teenager starting her life. She was 19 years old, a freshman at California Polytechnic State University, Cal Poly, far from home, but exactly where she wanted to be. Kristin grew up in Stockton, California, in a close, loving family. She was the kind of daughter parents trust, not because she was sheltered, but because she was responsible. She checked in. She followed through. She didn't disappear. Friends described her as friendly, open, and trusting. She wasn't reckless. She wasn't naive. She simply believed the world was mostly safe, and that people were mostly good. College, for Kristin, wasn't an escape. It was a beginning. She was learning independence, balancing classes, friendships, and freedom for the first time. Like so many freshmen, she was finding her footing, discovering who she could become. She had plans, not just dreams, but direction. And that's what makes what happened next impossible to ignore. Kristin was not the kind of person who vanished without a word. She didn't miss obligations. She didn't skip calls home. She didn't walk away from her life. So when Kristin failed to show up, when her phone stayed silent, when her bed remained untouched, those who knew her best understood immediately. Something wasn't just wrong. Something had been taken from her. This story isn't only about how Kristin Smart disappeared. It's about who she was before she did. Because understanding Kristin, her reliability, her trust, her normalcy, is what makes it clear that what happened to her was not chance. It was not a mystery of wandering. It was an interruption. And someone knows exactly when that interruption began. And it began on a warm spring night, at a party she never planned to be her last. The last night. The night of May 24, 1996 unfolded the way so many college nights do, without warning, without markers, without memory of where things begin to go wrong. Sometime before midnight, Kristin Smart arrived at the off-campus party on Crandall Way, just minutes from Cal Poly. Witnesses later described the scene as crowded but unremarkable. Music, alcohol, students coming and going. Kristin was seen drinking. At first, she appeared steady, social, normal. But as the hours passed, after midnight, friends noticed a change. Her speech slowed. Her movements became uncoordinated. She struggled to keep her balance. By around 1:30 a.m., witnesses would later say Kristin was clearly intoxicated. Not just drunk, but impaired. She needed help walking. And that's when attention began to shift. At approximately 2 a.m., Kristin left the party. She didn't leave alone. 3 students walked with her: Cheryl Anderson, Timothy Davis, Paul Flores. This is where the timeline tightens, and every minute begins to matter. They headed toward campus on foot. Kristin stumbled almost immediately. According to witness statements, she fell at least once, possibly more. Each time, someone helped her back up. At one point, she lay on the ground, unable to get up on her own. This wasn't casual drunkenness. This was vulnerability. The first separation. A short distance into the walk, still off campus, Cheryl Anderson stopped accompanying the group. Her reasoning, later explained, was simple. Kristin was still with others. She believed Kristin would be okay. The group continued. Kristin's condition did not improve. The second separation. Further along the path, closer to campus now, Timothy Davis also turned back. Once again, the decision didn't feel dangerous in the moment. Kristin wasn't alone. She was still with Paul Flores. The final minutes. This is the last confirmed segment of Kristin Smart's life. Paul Flores would later admit he was alone with Kristin at this point. Witnesses placed this moment just after 2 a.m. Kristin was disoriented, barely able to walk, dependent on someone else for support. Paul Flores told police he walked her toward her dorm, then left her. But no witness ever saw Kristin reach the building. No one saw her enter her dorm. No one heard her return. From this moment forward, the timeline collapses into silence. Kristin Smart disappears somewhere between a short walk and a place she never reached. Why this timeline matters. This wasn't a chaotic disappearance stretched across hours. It was a narrow window. A few minutes. A short distance. One person. Every witness timeline converges on the same truth. Kristin Smart vanished after she was left alone with Paul Flores. And before anyone else saw her again, there was no alternative path. No one explained detour, just a walk that never ended. And whatever happened next, happened quickly, quietly, and without witnesses. This is why the case would never truly go cold. Because the timeline doesn't wander. It points. The last person to see her. When investigators began asking questions, one fact stood above all others. Only one person could say what happened after Kristin Smart was left behind. His name was Paul Flores. Paul told police he walked Kristin toward her dorm. He said she was fine. He said she was coherent. He said she walked away on her own. But his story didn't stay still. The statements. In his first account, Paul said he left Kristin near her dorm entrance. Later, he adjusted the details. In another version, he claimed he fell asleep outside. Then he said he woke up and she was gone. Each retelling softened his responsibility and widened the gap where Kristin disappeared. No version of his story could be confirmed, because no one saw Kristin after that moment. No one saw her again. What others saw. While Paul's account shifted, witness recollections did not. People who encountered him that night remembered something else. They remembered scratches on his face. They noticed a black eye shortly after Kristin vanished. Injuries he could not clearly explain. Paul suggested he had fallen. Others weren't convinced. The timing was impossible to ignore. Early behavioral red flags. Paul Flores did not behave like someone searching for a missing friend. He didn't organize searches. He didn't speak publicly. He didn't show visible concern. Instead, he distanced himself, avoided questions, limited contact, spoke only through lawyers. This wasn't panic. It was withdrawal. Days later, investigators brought cadaver dogs into Paul's dorm room. The dogs alerted, specifically to his bed, not to alcohol, not to sweat, to the scent left behind when a human body begins to decompose. This detail would echo for decades. Still, no arrest was made. The legal weight of last seen. In criminal law, there is a concept known as the last seen doctrine. It doesn't require a confession. It doesn't require a body. It simply asks, who was the last known person with the victim, and what explanation do they offer for what happened next? In Kristin Smart's case, the timeline narrowed to a single answer. Paul Flores was the last person to see her alive. And every explanation he gave created more questions than answers. The silence after. No witness saw Kristin enter her dorm. No sound was heard. No door was seen opening. No roommate noticed her return. The night ended quietly. Too quietly. Kristin Smart vanished in the space between trust and truth. And the man who walked beside her was the only one who could explain why. But instead of clarity, there was silence. And silence in cases like this speaks loudly.